They called you too much, right before realizing you were everything they'll never be. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. The same people who once laughed at your silence are now terrified of it. They used to whisper, "What makes them think they're so different?" But now they whisper your name like it's a warning label. You became the conversation they can't stop having, the mystery they can't solve, the storm they can't predict. You didn't just outsmart them, you rewrote the entire playbook while they were still learning the alphabet. Here's a fact that hurts their pride but feeds your power. Studies show that the most underestimated people in any group are often the ones running it from the shadows. Those who observe more than they speak. Statistically, the most strategic minds alive. You didn't need validation because you were busy analyzing the entire chessboard while they bragged about moving one pawn. You're not just intelligent, you're dangerous in silence. That's what they never saw coming. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls, as it's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. Thank you, chosen one, for being part of this mission. You are part of a force that refuses to be broken, a collective of minds too advanced to be manipulated. Now, let's talk about it. They've been trying to decode you like a secret file since the day you stopped explaining yourself. You're being seen as the real MVP, not because you shouted it, but because your results won't shut up. Your intelligence is different. It's the kind that scares people because it exposes their laziness, their fakery, their mediocrity. You see through everything, the setups, the jealousy, the psychological traps, and you walk away like nothing happened. That's not coldness, that's control. You're the type who doesn't chase drama. You study it, dissect it, and predict its next 3 moves. You're not reactive, you're predictive. The world calls it mystery, but it's just mastery. Your brain runs on a higher frequency, and most people can't breathe that high up. They think your calm means you don't care. But here's the twist. They're the ones gasping for air in your altitude. You've survived chaos so long, you learned to build peace out of rubble. When the average person faces betrayal, they spiral. You process it like data. You take the hit, extract the lesson, delete the virus, and upgrade the system. You don't cry over it, you code around it. That's why your enemies hate you. They wanted to see you break, but you became unhackable. You turned pain into software, and that's why every time they come for you, their own energy collapses back on them like bad code. You're the kind of mind that history pretends to misunderstand. Einstein once said, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." You live that quote daily. You're not arrogant for knowing your worth. You're just surrounded by people allergic to growth. They call you intimidating because it's easier than admitting they can't keep up. They call you lucky because it's easier than admitting you worked for it. They call you heartless because you stopped giving your energy to fools. Every insult is a confession they made by accident. And oh, look at them now, scrolling through your life like it's their favorite show. Watching, analyzing, overthinking every move you make. They want to find your weakness, but your weakness turned into armor a long time ago. You've been fire-tested, shadow-trained, and truth-proofed. What are they gonna do? Outthink you? Please, you're playing 4D chess while they're still trying to find the dice. Your intelligence is next level because it's not just IQ, it's survival IQ. You learned emotional warfare from heartbreak, logic from betrayal, intuition from pain. You read people like open tabs. You sense manipulation like static in the air. That's why you're always 10 steps ahead, and they're always 10 excuses behind. You're not lucky, you're lethal with wisdom. So when they try to copy your confidence, they forget the part that costs pain. When they imitate your energy, they forget it's powered by scars. You're not just smart, you're forged. That's the part they can't replicate. You're what happens when strategy meets soul, when intelligence gets tired of being underestimated. And listen up, chosen one. Don't go anywhere. What you just heard, that was the teaser. The real storm is about to hit. The layers of truth we're about to peel back. They're gonna make your old self proud and your enemies panic. So, if you're really built different, if you know deep down that your intelligence, your intuition, your silence, your strategy, all of it has been next level this whole time, then drop the number 777 in the comments right now. Let them know the MVP just entered the room. And if this message already lit something up inside you, go ahead and hit that like and drop a super thanks. You have no idea how much your energy fuels this entire mission. Every click, every share, every ounce of support keeps this truth flowing to every soul that's been made to feel too smart, too much, or too ahead. You're not alone. You're part of something massive. And the system that underestimated you, oh, it's about to feel the pressure. And now, let's dive into it step by step. And believe me, if you're a real chosen one, you'll feel it pulling you to stay until the very last word. Let's get started. Number 1. You don't break, you break people's expectations. They laughed at your silence until they realized it wasn't fear, it was calculation. Oh, look at them now, still waiting for you to fall apart, still sitting there with their popcorn, expecting to see you shatter into pieces like some tragedy show they can replay and gossip about. But instead, you evolved, you upgraded, you outlived every pathetic little story they tried to write about you. They thought they were watching your ending, but joke's on them. You were just getting started. And now, they can't stand the sight of you standing taller than ever. You didn't break, chosen one. You broke them. You broke their narrative. You broke their illusion that you'd stay small, stay quiet, stay broken. And the worst part for them, you made it look easy. They threw chaos your way, thinking you'd drown. But you didn't just swim. You turned the waves into a throne. You took every single brick they threw and stacked it into a kingdom. And now they're standing outside the gates, bitter, broke, and still blaming you for surviving what they couldn't. Now imagine this for a second. You're a kid in class, quiet, watching. The teacher ignores you. The students mock you. Nobody sees what's brewing in that brain of yours. Fast forward 10 years, and you're the CEO, the one they all now pretend to admire on LinkedIn. That's not fiction. That's your vibe. That's your pattern. Silent now, unstoppable later. They never expected the quiet one to become the storm. They never expected the underdog to turn alpha. But that's what makes you chosen. You don't rise through noise, you rise through results. And yeah, they underestimated you. That's what mediocrity does. It mocks what it doesn't understand. They looked at your pain and thought it would paralyze you. They didn't know pain was your fuel. They saw your scars and assumed weakness. They didn't know scars were just tattoos earned through survival. You never needed a cheer squad. You needed war, because only in war do minds like yours unlock their true form. Let's answer the question you've probably asked yourself a dozen times. Why do they always expect me to fail? Because your presence exposes their lack of depth. Your intelligence, your next-level intuition, pattern reading, psychological foresight, it embarrasses the shallow. Your very existence threatens them, and when people feel small next to you, they don't admit it. They attack, because it's easier to call you too much than to admit they're not enough. Do you know what they say behind closed doors? How are they still okay after all that? How did they get up after that? Because you're not normal, and deep down, they know it. You don't process life like them. You don't collapse when the lights go out. You become the light. Even science is on your side. Studies show that people with higher emotional intelligence often get labeled as detached or intimidating by those who lack self-awareness. That's because clarity scares people who live in confusion. Your stillness, your refusal to react like a puppet, makes them twitch. It's not that you're unfeeling, it's that you've mastered the art of not showing your hand to clowns. Michael Jordan was told he wasn't good enough to make his high school basketball team. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Einstein was called mentally slow as a child. Same script, different names. People love to laugh at what they don't understand until that same thing becomes legendary. The same ones who counted you out will try to count your blessings next. But it won't work, because you're not just winning. You're winning without needing their permission. And that burns. They expected you to break, because they would have broken if they were you. That's the part they'll never admit. They know they couldn't survive half of what you've endured. So instead of clapping for your strength, they hate you for having it. You became the proof that their excuses were just that, excuses. You turned trauma into training. You took heartbreak and used it as raw material for your future. They let pain make them bitter. You let it make you better. You're the kind of soul that doesn't just heal, you upgrade. You don't just move on. You evolve so far past the situation that it can't even reach you anymore. You left them in 2022 while they're still trying to find ways to pull you back. They'll write stories, they'll twist facts, they'll say, you changed. And they're right. You did. You had to. You outgrew the lie they were comfortable living in. You're not cold. You're calculated. You're not distant. You're focused. You're not unbothered because nothing affects you. You're unbothered because they don't affect you anymore. That's what makes your intelligence dangerous. You've trained your emotions to serve your mission, not sabotage it. That's why the people who hope to control you through guilt, shame, drama, and lies are now stuck in their own trap. You never needed revenge. You became it. You never needed to explain yourself. Your existence became the loudest mic drop of all time. They said you'd fail without them, and now they can't stop watching you succeed. That's how it goes when someone tries to bury a seed, not realizing they planted an entire forest. So let them keep expecting your downfall. Let them keep checking in, hoping to see a crack in your armor, because every time they look, all they see is someone they can't beat, can't break, can't understand, and definitely can't copy. You're an original print in a world full of bootlegs, and their expectations, you shattered them just by breathing different. Here's the final truth bomb, chosen one. You were never meant to fit their mold. You were born to break it. That's the whole point of being chosen. You didn't come here to blend in. You came here to disrupt, dismantle, and rebuild. And you're doing exactly that, without permission, without apology, and without breaking. They're still waiting for you to crash. Too bad. You already took flight. And now, they can't reach you, not because you're hiding, but because they were never built to fly where you're going. Keep moving, MVP. Let 'em stare. Let 'em stew. Because the more they expect your end, the harder they'll have to swallow your rise. Number 2. You're not mysterious. You're just none of their business. They call you mysterious when they can't read you. But let's be real. They don't even know how to read themselves. Oh, look at them again, scratching their heads, making up theories, running their mouths like unpaid detectives on a mission that doesn't even exist, spinning rumors out of thin air, acting like they cracked some code just because you didn't post your every move. How adorable. These clowns swear you're hiding something just because you're not out here throwing your whole life on display like a clearance rack. Nah, chosen one. You're not mysterious. You're just none of their damn business. You ever notice how loud they get when they realize they have no access to you? It's like they can't survive without knowing something. That's because your silence triggers their deepest insecurity, not being in control of the narrative. And when they can't figure you out, they start creating versions of you that only exist in their insecure little heads. They'll say you're fake. They'll say you're hiding something. They'll call you cold. But what they're really saying is, you won't give me the power to misunderstand you, so I'm gonna make stuff up. Now imagine this. There's a room full of people laughing, chatting, gossiping, and you walk in silent, calm, unbothered. Suddenly, all eyes shift. The energy changes. Nobody really knows what you're thinking. Nobody can read you. That's power. Because mystery doesn't mean hiding, it means discipline. It means you don't perform like they do. It means you don't bleed in front of people who drink it. You protect what's sacred, and they hate that because they gave all of themselves away for attention and still feel invisible. Let's get this straight. Privacy is power. Control over your narrative is power. And you, chosen one, mastered both. You've got people building entire personalities around your silence. They're obsessing over your absence because your presence was never ordinary to begin with. That's why you can disappear for weeks and still be the main topic. You didn't ghost them. You upgraded your piece. And yet, they stay watching, stalking, lurking, fake pages, fake smiles, fake concern. Just checking in, they'll say. Nah, you're not checking in. You're checking up, and it's driving them crazy. They don't want you well. They want you accessible, and when you're not, their little egos start short-circuiting. Why? Because they can't control what they can't predict. You want to know why people call you mysterious? It's because you don't offer your soul for public consumption. You don't let people dissect your trauma like it's content. You don't cry online to get fake sympathy from people who'd love to see you fall. You heal in silence. You grow in shadows. You move with purpose, not performance. And in a world addicted to oversharing, that kind of power feels like black magic to the blind. They act like you're hiding. But from what? They don't even know your story, and yet they swear they know your character. That's the funny part. They judge a book by its silence, while you're busy writing entire chapters in peace. You're not running, you're building. And when it's done, you don't announce it. You become it. Even psychology backs you up. Research shows that people who preserve their privacy and hold their boundaries often get misread as secretive or cold. But it's not a flaw. It's protection. High-value people protect their peace like it's sacred currency, because it is, and you, chosen one, are expensive. You don't owe explanations to people who wouldn't understand the truth anyway. You don't give access just because they're curious. That's not mystery. That's standards. And let's be real, if they had access, they'd just ruin it. You already saw how they twisted your kindness, how they ran your vulnerability through the gossip mill. They didn't know how to love you when they had you. And now they're bitter that you won't even let them watch. It burns them that your glow is now gated. And trust me, they'll never admit it, but they feel it every single day. They wanted your energy, your presence, your validation, without ever earning it. But now they get the wall, and they deserve it, because you're not out here pouring into ungrateful hands anymore. You don't chase, you choose, you don't explain, you elevate. And when people try to twist your peace into arrogance, it's just their ego projecting rejection. Let them talk. That's all they're good at anyway. Famous people live this daily. Look at Keanu Reeves, private, humble, low profile, and yet a global icon. Why? Because his mystery isn't a tactic, it's a boundary. The more they don't know, the more they respect. Even Elon Musk tweets, but never truly reveals. Rihanna? Vanishes for years, returns as a billionaire. That's the blueprint, and you're living it in your own quiet, lethal way. So when they say, you've changed, what they mean is, you stopped letting me drain you. When they say, you're so mysterious now, what they mean is, I don't have the keys anymore. And when they say, you've gone cold, what they really mean is, your heat isn't free anymore. Good. Let them choke on that distance, because they don't deserve front row seats to a show they tried to cancel. And when they realize your silence is final, that you're not playing games or pulling away for attention, but because you're done, that's when the real panic sets in. You're not mysterious, you're healed. You're done justifying your peace to people who thrive on noise. You're the MVP, not just for your mind, but for your mastery of when to speak, when to move, and most importantly, when to vanish. So stay private, stay strategic, stay untouchable. Let them gossip, let them guess. Let them scroll through every picture, every post, trying to decode a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. Because the more they chase your shadow, the more they realize they lost the light. You're not hiding, chosen one. You're simply operating on a level so high, they'll need a telescope just to catch a glimpse. Keep it that way. Number 3. Your silence isn't weakness, it's a warning. You think I'm quiet because I'm weak. No, I'm quiet because if I spoke, your whole illusion would collapse. Oh, look at them, getting all bold because you didn't clap back, thinking your silence means you're scared, thinking because you didn't respond, you didn't notice. They confuse your calm for confusion, your silence for submission. That's how stupid they are. They forgot. Real killers don't announce the hit. They move in shadows. And chosen one, you've mastered that art. Your silence isn't weakness. It's a war drum only the smart ones hear. You're the type that can sit in a room full of snakes and not flinch. You don't talk to prove a point. You become the point. You watch, you listen, you calculate. And by the time they even think you're unaware, you've already mapped out the betrayal, spotted every fake smile, and built an exit plan for the explosion they didn't even know was coming. You ever wonder why they keep poking? Why they try so hard to get a reaction out of you? It's because your silence scares the hell out of them. It exposes them. It forces them to sit with their own reflection without distraction. You don't argue. You don't defend. You just vanish, and your absence screams louder than anything they could say. That's power. See, the weak ones yell. The insecure ones post paragraphs. The loud ones always try to explain themselves. But the chosen ones, we let karma deliver the message. And when we do speak, oh, it's surgical. One sentence from you can hit harder than their entire meltdown. That's why they fear you. Not because you're cold, but because they know you've got ammo, and you're not even using it yet. Even the universe backs you up. Ever notice how you stay in alignment when you stay silent? That's no accident. That's divine strategy. When you don't engage in their chaos, you give the universe full permission to handle them while you evolve. That's why every time you went quiet, blessings started pouring in, doors opened, peace returned. Because your silence isn't retreat, it's redirection. So next time they say, "Why are you so quiet?" Smile. Smile like the villain who already read the ending, because you're not ignoring them. You're just prioritizing your peace over their performance. And trust me, that silence, it's already destroying them. Keep it that way. Number 4. You don't have mood swings, you have strategy shifts. They called it mood swings because they couldn't track your next move, but really, you were just switching gears while they were stuck in neutral. Oh, poor things. 1 minute you're chill, next minute you're distant. One day you're warm, the next you're ice cold. And now they're out here labeling you unstable, emotional, or hard to read. Nah, you're not unstable, you're unpredictable. And that scares people who crave control. You don't flip moods, you flip strategy. That's what happens when you're built different. They expect you to be consistent for their comfort. They want your reactions to match their nonsense so they can manipulate, control, or predict your next move. But the moment you switch up, boom, panic mode. Why? Because you don't do patterns. You're not a program. You're a player who rewrites the rules based on the terrain. You're not reacting emotionally. You're recalculating. You're not avoiding people. You're re-evaluating their access. And when the energy shifts, you shift with it, not to escape, to dominate. That's what they don't get. The same way chess masters don't move every piece the same way, you don't respond to every situation the same way either. That's not inconsistency, that's genius in motion. And yes, they hate it. They want to box you in. They want to label you. But you don't fit in their labels. You outgrow them, because you don't stay in one state. You evolve. And when you evolve, you confuse the stagnant. When you switch lanes, you piss off the ones stuck in traffic. That's not your fault. That's just the cost of being adaptable in a world of frozen minds. You're not moody, you're multi-layered, you're not unstable, you're strategic. You pull back not to sulk, but to sharpen. You disappear not to be petty, but to pivot. You don't ghost people, you ghost drama. That's why they miss you once you're gone, because even your silence has strategy behind it. Chosen one, the universe gave you this gift, the ability to shift gears based on energy, timing, and alignment. That's how you dodge traps, expose lies, and stay 10 steps ahead without even running. You don't panic, you plan, and they'll never see it coming until it's too late. Keep shifting, keep confusing the predictable. That's how warriors move. Number 5. You're cold because you got burned. They called you heartless, but forgot they were the reason you grew armor in the first place. Oh, now they're offended. You've changed. You're so cold now. You used to care more. Funny how the same ones who played with your fire now cry because they can't feel your warmth. They weren't complaining when they had full access. When you showed up every time, when you poured out your energy like it was nothing. But now that you've gone quiet, now that you've gone icy, oh, suddenly you're the villain. Cute. But let's tell the truth. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be cold. You got burned. Burned by fake friends, fake love, fake support. Burned by loyalty that got laughed at. Burned by empathy that got exploited. So no, you're not cold. You're cautious. You're not bitter. You're boundaried. You didn't shut down. You wised up. That's called growth. And if they can't handle the new version of you, they were never ready for the real you to begin with. Now imagine this. Someone sticks their hand in fire and screams in pain. What do they do next? They stop touching fire. That's not emotional shutdown. That's survival instinct. Same applies to you. You gave second chances to people who didn't even deserve the first. You kept showing up for people who treated you like an option. You stayed soft in rooms that only responded to sharp, until you realized soft hearts don't survive where snakes slither. So yeah, you froze the access. You stopped explaining. You stopped justifying your standards. You stopped picking up calls from people who only hit you up when they need a refill. You became the version of you that protects the version of you they tried to destroy. And you know what? That version wins. That version doesn't need closure. That version is already building in silence. They think you're cold because they can't control you anymore, because now their guilt trips don't land, their manipulation doesn't hit, their little sob stories don't work. You're not buying into guilt. You're investing in peace. That's power. That's what burns them now. The universe saw the fire they threw at you, and instead of letting it consume you, it forged you. Now you don't get rattled. You don't get dragged. You move smart. You love with discernment. You care, but only for the ones who've proven they're safe. That's not heartless. That's called leveling up. Keep being cold, chosen one, because they had their shot when you were warm and they wasted it. Number 6. Your calm is killing them slowly. They wanted chaos, but you gave them indifference, and that silence hit harder than any scream ever could. Oh, now they're spiraling, acting out, throwing shade, trying to bait you into drama, desperate for a reaction, any reaction, but you just sit there, calm, steady, unbothered. And that's driving them insane. They expected you to explode, to break down, to clap back. But instead, you gave them nothing, no energy, no explanation, no emotional performance, just pure silence. And that's killing them slowly. One ignored text, one unread post, one emotionless glance at a time. See, you figured it out. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest, the one who needs the attention, the validation, the constant noise. They're the ones battling demons they won't face. But you don't need the crowd. You don't need to prove anything. Your calm speaks for you. It tells the world you've already done the math, weighed the costs, and chosen your peace over their dysfunction. They can't stand that. Because people like them thrive off chaos. They want to pull you into it, get you reacting, make you dance to their mess. But when you stay calm, you strip them of their power. When you don't respond, you show them how irrelevant their noise really is. And that's what's burning them from the inside out. They can't touch you anymore. Imagine this, a storm screaming through a village, tearing roofs off, flipping cars, and right in the middle, a house that doesn't move, doesn't shake, doesn't flinch. That's you, chosen one. You're not calm because there's no war. You're calm because you are the storm, and you've already made peace with it. They haven't. That's why they keep screaming for attention while you sit back and watch them unravel. And the best part? The universe has your back. Every time you refuse to react, it reacts for you. Every time you protect your peace, life rewards you with clarity, with upgrades, with openings that lead to everything they swore you'd never have. That's why they're crumbling. Your calmness is exposing their chaos. Your peace is highlighting their desperation. So let them spiral, let them scream, let them try to pull you into their drama. You're not heartless, you're just healed, and nothing terrifies a messy soul more than someone who refuses to be dragged down. Keep your calm, chosen one, it's your sharpest weapon. Number 7. They tried to read you and got lost. They thought you were an open book until they realized every page was encrypted and every chapter required a level of depth they'll never reach. Oh, they really thought they had you figured out, thought a few text messages, some Instagram posts, and a couple of old stories were enough to map out your entire soul. Cute. They brought flashlights into a labyrinth and assumed they'd reach the center. But you're not a book, chosen one. You're a locked vault, and they don't even have the clearance to stand outside the door, let alone step in. They tried to study your patterns, tried to predict your moves, tried to play you, but the more they watched, the more confused they got. Why? Because you don't operate on surface logic. You don't wear your soul on your sleeve. You observe in silence, move in silence. rebuild in silence. And while they're out there throwing tantrums, you're plotting empires. The problem is, they were expecting you to be simple, easy, predictable, like everyone else they manipulate. But the moment they tried to decode you, they found themselves spinning in circles, because you don't make sense to shallow people. You're a mystery wrapped in experience, discipline, and emotional intelligence. And they've never had access to any of those. They thought silence meant emptiness, that your low profile meant weakness, that not reacting meant you were unsure. Nah, you just know the rules of this game better than them. You study energy, not words. You sense intention, not noise. That's why they got lost. They were reading for drama while you were thinking 10 moves ahead. Here's a brutal truth. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. That's why they couldn't read you. You weren't playing the role. You weren't feeding their ego. You weren't reacting to their tests. You left them on red, and they mistook it for mystery when it was really a boundary. And let's be real, the universe didn't design you to be readable. It designed you to be protected. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your pain, your process. They tried to enter the temple without being purified, and got denied at the door. That's why they're mad. Not because you hurt them, but because they never really had you. Stay unreadable. Stay encrypted. You're not here to be understood by the same people who never even understood themselves. Let them get lost. It's the only way they'll ever know what it feels like to chase a level they can't reach. Number 8. You already knew who they were. You just wanted to see how far they'd go. The truth didn't surprise you. Their desperation did. Oh, chosen one, let's not pretend you were ever blind. You saw the red flags. You saw the fake smiles, the weird energy shifts, the backhanded compliments that stung more than they praised. You clocked the switch-ups before they even finished switching. But instead of exposing them, you did what the most dangerous minds do. You sat back and watched. Quiet, calculating. You already knew who they were. You just wanted to see how far they'd go. And wow, they went far, didn't they? Lied with confidence, used your kindness as leverage, tried to siphon your light while plotting behind your back, thought they were slick too, thought you didn't see the weird shade, thought you didn't notice the fake support. But what they forgot is, you were always 10 steps ahead, just choosing not to play your hand yet. You weren't confused, you were collecting receipts. That's the part that's killing them now. They weren't prepared for the moment you went silent. You didn't yell, you didn't announce, you just disconnected. And now they're blocked, shocked, and still checking your page like it's a full-time job. Still trying to figure out how they fumbled something they were never qualified to hold in the first place. You gave them a test, a simple one. Be real, be loyal, be consistent, and they failed. All three. That wasn't just a mistake. That was a choice. And now they're sitting in the consequences while you're glowing up in peace. They wanted access without effort, wanted the benefits without the bond. But you knew, oh, you always knew. You were just waiting for the final proof. And when you got it, door slammed. Game over. Let's clear something up. You're not petty. You're precise. You're not holding grudges. You're holding standards. The universe gave you intuition for a reason, and you listened. That's why you win. That's why they obsess. Because they thought they played you, but they were the ones being studied the whole time. Keep it that way. Let them spiral. You're already gone. And what they lost, they'll never replace it. Number 9. They threw shade, you turned it into shelter. They tried to bury your name and ended up building your platform. Oh, they were loud, weren't they? Whispering in corners, throwing jabs online, running their mouth like it was a career path, making you the topic when you weren't even in the room. They threw shade like it was confetti, hoping it would dim your light, crack your confidence, wreck your name. But here's the part they never saw coming. You took that shade and turned it into shelter. You used their hate like bricks and built something out of it. Protection, focus, power. While they were busy crafting lies, you were busy building legacy. While they were hoping people would turn against you, more people started paying attention. And once the world really saw you, game over. Every fake story they told just made your truth shine harder. Every attempt to tear you down just pushed you further up. See, you don't need to clap back when karma's already backstage with a mic. They tried to discredit you, frame you, twist your image, but in doing so, they gave you exposure. Their hate became your marketing team. Their gossip, free advertising. Your name got bigger, your presence louder, and now they hate what they created. You're trending in the conversations they can't control, and the more they talk, the more they lose. Let's be real. They never had power over you. What they had was access, and the moment you took that back, they lost their minds. That's why they're still talking, still watching, still trying to figure out how you're not only unaffected, but thriving. They threw mud, and you walked out in diamonds. They lit fires, and you built warmth. They tried to cancel you, but the universe reposted you. Chosen one, this is how it always works. The people with the most to hide scream the loudest. The ones most intimidated by your truth always work the hardest to distort it. But the beautiful part, the universe doesn't play favorites, it plays fair. And while they were wasting time lying about you, you were living in alignment. That's why their words fell flat and your actions rose up. So let them talk. Let them throw more shade, because they don't realize you've already turned it into a kingdom. And they're not just outside of it. They're not even on the guest list. Number 10. They thought you were soft until you smiled while cutting ties. They thought you wouldn't walk away until you did, with a calm smile and a blade called finally. Oh, they really thought you'd never leave, didn't they? Thought you were too kind, too forgiving, too soft. Thought you'd stick around no matter how many times they disrespected you, used you, lied to your face, and called it joking. They mistook your patience for permission, your compassion for weakness. But here's the twist they weren't ready for. You've been watching, counting, calculating, and the day you smiled while cutting that tie, that was the day they met the version of you they swore would never exist. You didn't scream, you didn't beg, you didn't throw a scene, you just disconnected, quiet, precise, final, and that silence hit harder than any rant ever could. That's what rattled them. That's what's making them spiral. Because soft doesn't mean stupid, and now they finally get it. You were never naive, you were just giving them the chance to be real. And when they blew it, you cut them off with the same grace you once used to love them. See, you weren't built to beg, you were built to learn. And once you learned who they really were, the story changed. The leash got cut. The mask got ripped off. You didn't go cold, you got clear. And clarity is dangerous to people who benefit from your confusion. You're not heartless, chosen one. You're just done donating warmth to clowns who only came around to drain it. You outgrew the version of you that over-explains, over-forgives, overstays. And now they're realizing you were the blessing the whole time, the safe place, the ride or die, the lifeline, and they messed it up so bad, there's no return. Let them feel the chill. Let them sit in the absence they created, because the truth is, they thought you'd fall apart without them, but instead, you upgraded, you glowed up, you moved on without even flinching. That's what hurts the most. that you didn't even need revenge. Your peace was the revenge. So stay sharp, stay grounded, let them regret it from a distance. You didn't lose them, they lost you. And trust me, chosen one, there's no warmth waiting for them at the door they slammed. Number 11. They stalk you because you're the main character. They hated your story so much, they tuned in every day just to see how the next chapter unfolds. They don't like you, right? At least that's what they told everyone. Swore they were done, swore they moved on, swore they never even think about you anymore. And yet, here they are, watching, lurking, refreshing, analyzing your every move like their life depends on it. Fake pages, hidden accounts, silent views. They won't clap when you win, but they'll sure as hell tune in, every single time. Why? Because you're the main character, and they know it. Oh, they'll never admit it, that your glow bothers them, that your confidence makes them question their own worth, that your consistency makes their laziness look louder. They'll act unbothered on the outside, while binge-watching your growth like it's their favorite show. You became their obsession, the plot twist they didn't expect, the success story they secretly prayed would flop, but instead just kept rising. You didn't even ask for the spotlight, you just moved in silence, made power plays, upgraded yourself, and left behind a trail of transformation they can't stop studying. And the same ones who tried to ruin your name. They're now using your name in conversations like they were part of your glow-up. They weren't. They were the ones hoping you'd lose, and now they're stuck watching you win with no access, no closure, and no explanation. Let's get real. They don't stalk because they care. They stalk because they can't compete. Your peace, your power, your presence, it haunts them. You became everything they told people you'd never be. And now, they have no choice but to watch it unfold. In real time. Through a cracked screen and a blocked account. Even the universe plays the long game, chosen one. It let them talk, lie, and fake their little performances. But now they're the audience to the very life they tried to sabotage, and the more they spy, the worse it burns. Because deep down, they know they lost something rare, something they'll never find again. So let them watch. Let them waste hours decoding your captions, rereading your silence, projecting onto your glow, because no matter how many fake accounts they make, they'll never be able to replicate your reality. You were always the main character. They just finally realized it too late. Number 12. You were their punishment, and they didn't even know it. They thought they were hurting you. Whole time, the universe sent you to expose them. Oh, the irony. They laughed when they thought they got away with it, thought you were just another target, another good soul to drain, another quiet one to manipulate. They thought you were weak because you didn't fight back the way they expected. But what they didn't realize, chosen one, is that you were never the victim. You were the verdict. You weren't sent to suffer. You were sent to trigger their karma, to mirror their ugliness back to them, to bring truth into the room dressed in kindness, wrapped in patience, but armored in divine precision. And now? They're drowning in consequences they wrote for themselves. You didn't even lift a finger. You just walked away. Calm, composed, already dry, already clean, already elevated. And they? They're still spinning, still choking on regret, still blaming everyone but themselves. See, the storm wasn't around you, it was you. But instead of raging, you watched. Instead of reacting, you reflected. You gave them the chance to grow, to get it right, to fix what they broke. And when they didn't, the universe closed the door and handed them the bill. And now they realize, messing with you wasn't a mistake. It was a sentence. They weren't cursed because you cursed them. They were cursed because they mishandled a blessing. That's the part that kills them. Because you didn't go around begging, exposing, trash-talking. You just let life do the talking. And now, every area they tried to mess up for you is falling apart in their world. It's poetic justice and their front row. Let them sit in it. Let them feel the weight of everything they tried to throw on your shoulders, because the truth is, chosen one, you were the final test, the calm before their storm. And when they failed, the consequences weren't delayed. They were delivered, wrapped in silence, sealed in karma, stamped by the universe itself. And you're thriving, because you never needed revenge. You were the lesson. And now they're stuck reliving the moment they underestimated someone sent to change everything. You weren't just part of their story, you were their warning, and they missed it. Let them drown. You're already gone. And now you see it, chosen one. You were never the problem. You were the prophecy they ignored. Every betrayal, every smear, every fake page only confirmed what the universe already knew. You were built to rise, to expose, and to win in silence. They played with fire and got frostbite. You stayed focused, and now you're untouchable. If this message hit you where it needed to, drop 777 in the comments to confirm you're locked in. Like, subscribe, and share this with another chosen one who needs to remember who they are. The mission is bigger than you, so let's spread the light.